So if you have ever opened a large file in Linux or on Windows and it froze, you are not alone. This is not new, and that is actually something that happens a lot. But there are better ways you can manage large files and still have a smooth experience in terms of system usage and resource management. The uh, Linux terminal provides you a lot of commands, a lot of packages that helps you manage your file very seamlessly with less stress. And as we know, viewing the file we can't do without the cat, because it is always something that is very commonly used. But let's see what we have in our folder. We have about a few number of files, and in order to see the content better, let's look at the permissions we have on the files. Let's also look at the first of all, let's sort the file. Let's look at the permission, and let's make sure that every file inside is listed. And also let's see the information in a human readable, the file size in a human readable format. And as you can see, we have a 200 megabyte CSV file, we have a 198 megabyte CSV file. I also have a 2 gig CSV file, and that's about 3 million lines of code with about 20 something columns. So that's a very large file. For me to operate on that file using a graphical user interface, my system might be freezing at most times. So we will need to understand the right tool to use in order to use this file. So let's take, for example, there are 4 commands we are going to try. Let's clear our screen. We are going to try the head command. We are going to try the tail command. So you see they are just a descriptive name. We can see the head of the file, the tail of the file, and just like the cat and the tag, where we can see the top and the bottom, the file from the top and the file from the bottom. Adding this extra layer of commands to the cat and the tag will actually make your experience with the Linux command line and file operations very smoothly. So the head will show us the beginning of the file, and it will show just a few number of lines. The tail will show us from the end. The less will show us a few lines. Will be scrolling. It's an interactive viewer mode where you can be scrolling just like in a graphical user interface format. Then the more is a basic viewer, but it's an older version. So it's the less is actually the most used one. So it's the more is not something that we are going to look at. Now we have a file called 2023. Let's try to check the head of the file. We can check the head of 2023.csv. So it listed a few lines from the file. At the top we have id, lg, so these are just a few lines from the file. And the next one is we can list a particular number of lines. As you know, I can head, because assuming I'm trying to so just like in the cat, we can just head the first 5 lines from the 2023.csv. That means I want to see only the first 5 lines from that very file. So this is just very powerful. You can use in the head, and you can preview very large files very quickly with this very command, so that most of the times I don't need to understand everything that is in the file. I just need few of it to use. You can just write out the result in another file. That way you can be able to use it to manipulate your activities. So the head can also be used in combination with the pipe command. So okay, so okay, I want to clear the screen. Okay, so assuming I'm in a folder with hundreds or thousands of files, I just want to see a few of them, or maybe the first three large files. All I can do is to ls, because ls shows me the file, and I want to sort it, and I want it to be human readable, and I want to get the permissions. And make sure you are listing all the files. So sort human readable large files. What I want is to sort it by size, so it's going to sort that. Then you can pipe it into the head, but I want to show only the first three, or first three. So those are the top three, and the total is about 385 megabytes. So okay, first four. So you see we have more control of our system. So these are very powerful commands. You can combine them and it will be very amazing to use. And then we have the opposite of the head, which is the tail. So when we use the head, we saw the file from the top. We can just tell, we can get the last 10. No, let me just get the last 3 lines, from 20. Remember that if you use the tab key, it will auto complete your code, your terminal codes, and this is what we have. So in real time, you can monitor your log files, and for any file at all. You can, that is if the file is actually updating itself. For example, you are pulling data from a database. So if the file is actually being added, you can in real time follow up that command, and that is very powerful. Remember, the system has what we call a log file that logs all the data that comes into the system, so you can be able to follow the updates of the file along as it goes. So you can also view the content of multiple files at the same time. And let's see, there's also all centers mesh. So look at, this is the first file and this is the second file. So you can view the you can view multiple files at the same time and it will still show you. So if you use the -f flag on the tail, it will actually be updating the file as the file, if the file is getting updated. So You can also add line numbers. So there is the less command, because you know we have seen the head, we have seen the tail, we can have the less. So the less command shows just instead of the head and tail that just push every part of the file. If I exit, it would by default I think is 10, or the cat command that lists everything. The less will actually give you an interactive method of navigating the file, so you can scroll just like in a graphical user interface. You can scroll through the file. Let's 20 out tab. Okay, so the file is open. I can scroll through the file instead of just what so let's quit by pressing the Q. So we can show the line number. There's line 1, okay. There's line 2, line 3, line 4, and continuous until we have all our lines listed. And can reduce this so that you see that the file is actually huge. Look at this. So that is one important of the less command. You can pipe the less just like we piped the head, and you can also find more. So instead of less we can have more. So, and all these commands you can use the manual command to view advanced information about them. That way you won't just be doing it, you would understand what you're actually doing. Let's more look at this. So with more, it's actually an older command. So what you use is the space to scroll, the enter to go to the next line, and as you can see it shows the percentage of the file that have been seen. Okay, and Q to quit, just like the less. So which of these commands have helped you? Which one have you used? Which one is new to you? So we have the tail, we have the head, we have the less, we have the cat, and we have the tag. All these are very important commands in Linux that you can use to manipulate your files. Now that you know exactly which commands to use and when, if you want to become a Linux pro, this level is what you need. And then if you are interested in our videos, subscribe and we will meet you with others. So thank you for watching this, and see you in the next.